What's up? This is Rebel Radio.
What up? What up? This is DJ Newmark.
This is Peanut Butter Wolf.
It's your boy. It's okay.
Keep checking out Rebel Radio.
Rebel Radio.
This is Rebel Radio.
We're in the place right here. Rebel Radio is going down.
Would you say Rebel Radio?
Oh, wait. Let's do it again.
Rebel Radio.
What's up, Rebels? Welcome back to Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Josh Levine. I got a special episode for you today. We're going to learn all about ASMR. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I didn't know what it was either. But we have Allie of the YouTube channel ASM Requests with her partner Josh. And we also have my man Lane, host of the Beerlosophy podcast. Check out Beerlosophy on iTunes. If you look back a few episodes, I was on there, so try to avoid that one. But Allie is going to tell us about her ASMR business, basically on her YouTube channel. She talks in a whisper and does all kind of interesting stories and characters that for some people gives them a tingling sensation. They find it highly relaxing. It helps them go to sleep, et cetera, et cetera. And she's built a whole content business around that, becoming kind of a YouTube celebrity. So she tells us about, first of all, how she got addicted to the feeling of people subscribing to her channel and how that's really driven her to want to build her business, and then learning the work ethic of running a business. And she and her partner are now launching a second business around 360 VR content. You'll hear me arguing against VR, and we get into it a little bit about that, but she's going to talk about how they've used the ASMR community to now help launch this second business. Really interesting stuff. And like I said, if you're not up on this, you will be at the end of this show. And right now, check out my interview with Allie from ASM Requests. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to learn about what you're doing. I've been seeing the videos and learning from Lane a little bit about Pixel Whipped and ASMR and all this stuff. It's all pretty new to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to get into it and see where it takes us.
Yeah, me too.
And cool. And I definitely want to hear about you guys and what you're up to together. Lane, we'll just introduce you as, I don't know if you're my co-host or her co-guest or whatever. We'll figure it out.
The mysterious middleman of mystery, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely. But you're also the host of Beerlosophy, which was generous enough to have me on.
And you were gracious enough to be, coming out of retirement, right? We do our podcast like once every 2 years.
Yeah.
It's special when you come
biannual podcast. That's it. You occupy a special place in the podcasting world.
When we do it big.
That's right.
And so we bring in guys like
the
Josh.
Olympics of podcasting.
That's right. Every 2 years. No Zika virus.
That's right.
It's all good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Allie, you're our internet celebrity of the day. No, we don't have very many internet celebrities on, so this is a special treat for us.
Okay, if you say so, I'll go with internet celebrity. I'll take it.
Well, you have a lot of people watching your videos.
I do, yeah.
Which is impressive.
Thank you.
So I'm curious to know how you got started with ASMR requests,
mm-hmm.
and more generally with producing content and being on-camera talent and all that. How'd this come about?
So I met my boyfriend, Josh, another Josh.
Not me.
No relation to you. Not you, no.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, just for anyone was wondering. I met Josh about 4 years ago, and we were dating, and everything was going great. And one day, just a few months into our new relationship, he asked me, have you ever heard of this phenomenon called ASMR? I said, no, I've never heard of it. And so he told me a bit about it, explained it to me, and showed me some of the videos that he watched himself online to help him sleep and relax at night, and sort of explained roughly what the sensation was that he was experiencing when he watched these videos. And I was like, well, that's super weird. And so are you.
Nice.
But I was really curious about it too. It made me raise an eyebrow, but I was just so fascinated. I'd never heard of it. I couldn't remember at that point. I couldn't remember if I'd ever experienced that in my life. So it was just a really new concept to me. And so I just started watching the same videos that he was watching every single night. I started watching them to go to bed, and I found them really soothing and relaxing, and I kind of understood what the appeal was, but I wasn't feeling the tingly sensation that people describe feeling when they watch ASMR or experience ASMR until one night I was watching a video of someone speaking in Spanish pretending to apply makeup to their camera or to the viewer, and I felt it. I felt this tingly sensation in my scalp that Josh had been describing to me, and I said, "Oh, that's amazing." And so he said, a few weeks later, he said, I think you'd be really good at this. Why don't you try? Because I was just watching the videos. I was just consuming them and using them.
Yeah.
And he said, I think you might be good at it. You should give it a try. And I was like, no, I don't want to put my face on the internet. I have a nice, simple little life. I don't want to do that.
Uh-huh. What were you doing before?
Oh, God. At that time, I was just working a bunch of random jobs. I was in a really crappy telesales job at that point, and I hated it. But, I'd worked just a bunch of random jobs at that point, no real career to speak of.
Yeah.
But then I took his advice, and I said, okay, I might as well. I'll just try one. So he was working one night, and I said, I'm going to go shoot one of those funky whisper videos in my room. See you later. And he was like, okay, whatever. And he kept working, and then I went and shot one on my little Acer laptop. It was really grainy. It was really hard to hear, but I uploaded it to YouTube, and then people started watching it, and people started commenting on it. And it was that moment when I realized that there was kind of a disconnect before that point of what does it mean to put yourself out there on the internet for anyone and everyone to view, and actually doing it. And once I saw people starting to respond and commenting and saying, this was great, I hope to see more videos from you, and then people actually subscribing, taking the time to subscribe to this random little channel that I had just created in my bedroom on a whim, that was them saying, hey, I'd like to see you again. And something clicked in my brain, and I ran over to Josh and I said, people are subscribing to this, like minutes later. Then we woke up the next morning, and there were maybe like 300 people or something the next day that had subscribed to like this little channel that I just made, and it was a really cool feeling. And so I kind of just kept doing it. I got sort of addicted to that feeling, and people were telling me how much the videos were kind of helping them the same way that they had been helping myself and Josh to fall asleep at night. And I thought, okay, so I could do this. So I just kept doing it.
Yeah. And was there a certain point that you thought, like, this is a career, or that I'm going to make a living this way?
It took some time for me to believe that that was something that anyone could do. I'd heard of Jenna Marbles and Philip DeFranco and all these people who had made a name for themselves via YouTube, via the internet, and that was still a really new concept to me, and it still felt very inaccessible. I thought, well, I could do these strange little videos and put them out there, but I don't know if there's any real money to be made, or if I could ever quit my job to do this. I think I'll just do it as a hobby, and it's fulfilling and it's helping people, so I'll just keep doing it. But there came a point when I had been doing it for months, and I had started to build up more and more kind of an archive of content on this channel of mine, on this sort of hobby channel. And I enabled ads to run on my videos through the approval, actually, of my audience before I even decided to turn the ads on, which is how money is made on YouTube videos.
Right.
Before I even decided to do that, I actually polled the audience that I had built at that time and said, is this something that you'd be okay with if I made a little bit of money doing this? Would you mind seeing ads? And I actually had them vote in a poll, and everyone said, yeah. Not everyone, but most people, the majority of people watching.
51%.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine, yeah. A lot of people were supportive of it. So I went ahead and enabled ads to run, and I did start making money from my videos, a little bit here and there. And then there was a turning point where I wasn't making tons of money, and, I still am not, but it was a point where I realized if I had more time to dedicate to this, I could quit this crappy job that I don't like, and I could do this thing that I really do like and have a lot of fun with, and can be creative and write and be silly and be helpful to people. I could do this full time and support myself and support my family. So when I realized that that was a real possibility, I just went for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. I'm intrigued. Obviously, brands, are all looking to the web and to video content as a means of promotion. Some huge amount of money goes into producing content that no one sees, no one cares about, and so I'm always fascinated by these things that really break through. That without a marketing plan and a media budget, right? They just connect with people.
Yeah.
And it sounds, it's amazing that you sort of stumbled onto this, right? And at the same time, I think, that really speaks to the fact that this idea of the web sort of democratizing content. I don't think we've really still grasped that, certainly in the marketing community.
Yeah.
Right, because the marketing mentality, Lane, I know you work with a lot of brands.
Right,
is still that like we can make this stuff and embed our brand messages and put it out, and people are going to eat it up because they want video because they're on YouTube. Right, and it's still that same mentality of like we're going to put something in the NBC lineup, and because it's there, people will pay attention to it. And your story is like the complete opposite of that. It's like there's stuff out there that people want, and just give it to them.
Exactly.
What about so you said you polled your audience, and obviously the web and YouTube in particular. We could do anthropological studies on YouTube commenting.
Oh my God.
And what that says about the human psyche.
I'd rather not. It doesn't say many good things.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and I'm sure you have trolls or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to speak for your audience, but
it's pretty tame, especially, and it's kind of an odd anomaly of the ASMR genre community in particular on YouTube, because you're right, YouTube comments are notoriously just a cesspool of just some of the worst things that can come out of a person's head, and some of the shittiest people are out there using the internet. But ASMR, for some reason, seems to either, I don't know, maybe it doesn't really interest those people as much, or it's so calming and relaxing that it doesn't bring that nasty side of people out, or whatever it may be. The audience is overwhelmingly kind and positive. And there's a troll here, a troll there, a nasty comment here, a nasty comment there, but it's so, they're so few and far between. So that's really encouraging.
Yeah.
And, I have a pretty thick skin. I can handle criticism or hate speech towards me online if it comes to it. But there's just so little of it. I don't know how I would fare if I did, maybe makeup videos or something where these girls are having to deal with just the nastiest stuff. But yeah, something about this particular genre, everyone's just a little bit more well-behaved online.
It is really supportive and actually kind of leading you down the road in terms of what they want to see next. They're coming up with great ideas.
Yeah, they're very engaged.
They get attached to certain characters that Allie plays and want to see the next chapter in Salmon's story. And that's great for just giving the audience what they're asking for. They're helping write the script.
Yeah, so talk about that a little, because on the surface it's talking into a camera quietly, right?
Yeah,
kind of whispering. But it's not. You're not just ad-libbing, right? There's storylines and characters, and I saw the space travel agent video, and you mentioned the makeup one that you saw, and so can you describe what that is? Like, what is it that makes a good ASMR video? Why do you need these storylines, and how do you do that?
Well, first of all, a good ASMR video is really in the eye of the beholder. Everyone, it's so subjective. Everybody has something that works for them, something that doesn't. On my channel, that I run like 50% of, and the other 50% is Josh. We're collaborators, we're coworkers. On our channel, what we feel makes the best content and what represents our goals the best is content that's as highly produced as we can possibly make it. So we try and use, the nicest equipment that we can afford at any given time. I'm extremely, extremely anal about the editing process. I edit all of my own videos, and Josh does that as well. And it's a painstaking process to take out any little noise that might disturb someone, because I'm trying to imagine someone laying in bed with their headphones in, falling asleep, and if there's a dog barking somewhere in the background that would wake them up, I'm going to take that sound out.
Yeah.
So we have very, very high standards for just the quality alone. And then when it comes to the content itself, we really like to be, we're both really, we're silly people, we're creative people. We both love to write fun characters and compelling stories. We both kind of have a storyteller itch, I guess. And so this is kind of our way of relieving that.
Yeah.
So an ASMR video can just be as simple as sitting in front of a camera and whispering and being soft and being mindful. But on our channel, it's definitely more than that.
So is that more because that's what inspires you?
Yes.
Or is it more because the audience wants that?
Well, both. I mean, the audience has we're lucky that the audience has responded really, really well to what we want to do.
Yeah.
The channel is really first and foremost just an outlet for Josh and I to play, essentially. And our audience has responded so well to it, especially some of the higher end, my sci-fi series, Departure, some of my 360 content, some of the stuff that's a little bit more advanced and high tech. A lot of people really like it, and so that's exciting for us because that's what we want to do. We want to grow and expand and try and do more and more innovative and creative stuff. And we get such good feedback and such encouragement from the audience that we're like, okay, we'll just keep doing what we want to do because it's working.
Yeah.
So.
And where do those ideas come from? Like, how do you decide to do a space series?
That was Josh's idea.
Yeah.
That was originally Josh's idea, and then one of us will just have an idea. I mean, it's kind of an affliction. Like, we lose sleep. Josh especially will just wake up in the night and he'll
there
just...
are videos that can help you with that.
Yeah, I've heard some kind of
Yeah.
whisper weird.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, we have too many ideas, and there's only so much manpower that 2, 3, 4 people can put forth. But one of us will just come up with an idea and we'll just start riffing. We get each other, we communicate really well. We kind of share a brain, Josh and I. So once one of us comes up with an interesting idea, it just snowballs into something. And that was the case with Departure. Josh just said, we haven't done a role play style video in a while. It'd be cool to do something kind of sci-fi theme, because he's a big sci-fi lover, and I am too. And it was really simple. It was just a really simple idea, and it wasn't going to be necessarily a series with a storyline behind it, but it just kind of morphed and took form, sort of out of our control, and just went nuts.
Yeah. Do you try stuff? Do you like test stuff and see if it works, or?
How do you mean?
And like, as far as content, storylines, are you like?
I mean, our test is just the internet. We just put it out, and
put it out.
If it's stupid and people hate it, we don't do it again.
Right.
Yeah, we don't really. I mean, well, we did do one video once. I have a character who is very well liked on my channel that is just me in a costume acting ridiculous, and her name is Salmon. And Salmon was actually born out of a failed character that we never put out. It was a completely different character. And I can't remember exactly why that didn't work out, but I guess that was a test in a way. It never saw the light of day. It was just a bunch of shots that we did on our own, and we scrapped it. But then this new character who my audience just loves was born out of that. So yeah.
Cool.
Everything's a test.
I guess, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the great thing about YouTube. It's the Wild West. You know, you're just kind of putting it out there, and you know, with one video, if it's not liked, then no harm, no foul. You just don't do it again. It's not like you're committed to it.
Yeah, that's interesting insight. That I'm not. I think brands have a harder time with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they probably need to learn that.
Yeah.
And so, what about so ASMR is a response that some people have, not everyone has.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything? Do you know anything about like why some people? Do you have that response?
Yeah, that's actually how I discovered Allie and the rest of the category.
Yeah, how did that happen?
So I was going through some health issues. Actually, I had some hearing problems, and I was coming out of that, and I was looking for anything that would just kind of help me chill out, especially at night when your head goes crazy thinking about all the things that
For me, it's Seinfeld.
You can think about. I used all those things, but I heard this American Life episode about, I think their topic was Tribe of One, and the topic of the podcast was people who thought they were unique in some weird way, and then they find out there's millions of other people just like them.
Yeah.
And
like Seinfeld watchers.
Right.
I thought I was the only one.
You're the only one.
Yeah.
But the guest that was on, they were talking about how ever since she was a kid, and she discovered it watching like Bob Ross, the painter, the guy with the big fro, and the happy little foothills, and the sounds of the brushes on canvas would make her head light up like a snow globe. And I'm like, wait, that's me. Going back to like Mr. Rogers days, certain like we're going to tour the Crayon Factory, low talking, that kind of stuff. It's this kind of real cool, chill out, mellow feeling that just makes everything else go away. And I'm like, wow, this exists. And so I've kind of started searching out the category, found Departures, found Maria and Heather Feather and some of these other ASM artists that were really experimenting with, like, they're just dedicated to, does this work? What about this? What about this? It was really like the last, I would say, 2.5 years has been one big experiment in terms of, does this work? You guys tell us. And then it morphs into things that are very repeatable, right? Like the formula's starting to come together. And the thing that I loved about Allie and Josh's work was that they're clearly talented. It's more than just the ASMR. They are storytellers. They are talented production folks. And unlike so many talents on YouTube, there's a lot of volatility in what people's numbers look like. You might have the $1 million cat or million view cat video once. Right. It's really hard to do it again.
Sure.
And so their batting average and the response.
Goddamn cats are so unpredictable.
We haven't done a cat ASMR video yet, but
it'll happen.
But yeah, so it was just a really interesting company and collaboration where they had a critical mass. They had a very supportive audience. They can do what they want, and they're at that inflection point, I think, where with the added resources or commitment of a brand or a studio, or, there's so much more they can be doing that might cross over from ASMR, but probably into more of a mainstream storytelling space with 360 VR kind of stuff. So it's exciting.
Yeah, so I want to talk about some of the other stuff you're doing because I know you're going beyond ASMR. But before we jump off that, I'm curious, just how big is this phenomenon? Like, how sort of mainstream is it?
I haven't seen any quantifiable numbers, but it is
certainly growing. I know that.
there's documentaries that are popping up about it that you've been in. Rooster Teeth did one.
I saw that.
There's if you take a look at Google Trends, and if you compare things like ASMR to 360 video as search terms, ASMR is bigger than 360 video. Which, like, really? Yeah. And it's just last 2 years, it's just been continuing to grow. Yeah. So we'll combine the two, right?
Yeah, 360 video with ASMR.
and there is some medical research that's entering the category in terms of this being kind of a natural if you're antidepressant, anti-anxiety, PTSD with veterans, Big and Rich, actually. I don't know if you want to talk about, the PTSD with veterans and their interest.
I don't know if we're allowed to yet.
Well, there's a lot of people interested in.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're still in the early
ways
talks
that
of
it can be used, and I think there are a lot of people that enjoy the just chill out time, even if they don't get the full response. Anytime somebody's whispering to you, it just naturally kind of diffuses what else is going on in your head. So.
That's a really good way of putting it.
Right?
How can you be worked up?
I've read about that in with neuro-linguistic processing, right? That you can sort of lead people by your vocal intonations, and you can, you want to create a more stressful, more hostile, like you raise your voice, and you can bring that down, and and what I find interesting, even I know you mentioned it, discovering it as a way to get to sleep, and like. I wasn't joking that Seinfeld is kind of puts me to sleep.
Yeah, it's cozy.
It's because I've seen all of them and I like them, but I don't. It's not something new that it's gonna like capture my attention.
Yeah. It's kind of white noise.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I need that, and yet if we go, I could pull up 10,000 articles about how to improve your sleep, and they all say
turn the screens
no
off.
Computers, no screens, an hour before bedtime. That just doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work for me either. I just don't believe them.
Yeah.
I think they're lying.
well.
No, I know it's true, but it's just.
But I think it speaks to the fact that we're not all the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't have the ASMR response. Maybe I would from the Spanish video is the one
maybe.
that I need to find. Right. But and I also can't lay there in the dark like my wife can and get to sleep. Right. And so we each need different things. Or, to your point, there are these tribes that, each need different things. I'm curious if that, has that applied to other areas of your life? Have you sort of thought, well, this thing gets me to sleep, but, is there something else that, I don't know, it's sort of a weird question, but.
I'm going to try and answer it the best I can. So just in life, are there things where I am different from other people? Is that what you're saying?
Certain hacks, like life hacks?
I'm sure, maybe it's more life hacks. Like, are there things that you've sort of found that really work for you that maybe weren't?
Towards sleep or anything?
Whatever.
Let's see.
I don't know where I'm going with this question.
No, that's okay.
I like the question.
We're just
Where's
riffing. First.
That's all right.
I don't know.
All right.
Maybe we can come back to this one.
Yeah, it's fine. That's a weird question.
ZQL. ZQL's great.
What is that?
ZQL. It's from the makers of NyQuil.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not. It's not for a cold. It's just straight up to put you to sleep.
Right.
But let's not talk about that.
So what is this thing?
Non-habit for me.
So, for those of you not.
This monstrosity over here.
Yeah. What is this apparatus that you brought with you?
This is Josh's and my new 360 camera and microphone rig.
Okay.
Okay, so we are partnered with a company called 360 Heroes, and another company called 3DO. 360 Heroes created this this plastic. Is it plastic? I shouldn't say plastic, probably.
Plastic. Well, the core is nickel, and the external part is plastic.
Okay, well.
Nickel just sounds so much
Nickel's
more
better.
official.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this casing.
Yeah.
So 360 Heroes created this casing that fits 10 GoPros. They actually have lots of different rigs, but this one in particular fits 10 different GoPros to create 360 video. And 3DO is a company who creates microphones, binaural and omnidirectional microphones. This one is an omnidirectional.
Yeah, 360-degree audio.
Yeah, omnidirectional microphone, and it captures 360-degree audio. And so all of this together is a tool for us to make 360-degree video and audio content, ASMR or otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just ASMR, but we are kind of using ASMR as a jumping off point to really get into the immersive content space. That's something we're really excited about.
So talk about that, because I know I saw there's a a news show that you host about 360, and I know. So tell us about some of the stuff you're doing that's not ASMR related.
So Josh and I, along with 2 other awesome ASMR creators named Heather Feather and Maria, whose channel is Gentle Whispering. These are 2 other ladies who do ASMR along with me. Us 3 and Josh created an immersive content studio / network called Pixel Whipped. And this is our company that we are, let me phrase this in a non-stupid way. I don't know, what's the best way to go about saying it?
Stupid way is fine. We like that.
Basically that. So Pixel Whipped is our company that focuses on creating original 360-degree and immersive content and promoting and distributing content by other creators as well.
So tell me, from where I said there's a lot of debate about 360 and VR and what it's going to mean ultimately to brands, to the entertainment experience, what it's doing to content. I'd love both of your thoughts on.
Yeah, I mean,
what is it?
Share a couple thoughts. We actually, the first time we met in person was at South by Southwest, and we were going to look into producing some, branded ASMR content together. But we're also interested in all the hubbub about the 360 VR space. Everybody in the world wants to do 360 VR. And so we went to the Samsung display where, of course, they had like the latest and greatest immersive experiences, the Six Flags roller coaster experience with the Oculus Rift on, right next to the Gillette booth where you can virtually ride a roller coaster, because I guess that's what razors are about.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's in the very early stages of,
don't shave on a roller coaster, kids.
Please, it's not.
No, it's the roller coaster of emotion that you go on when you shave.
Right. Right. I feel that every day. Can you feel that right here? Just some ASMR with my whiskers.
You look like an electric shaver guy.
I just shave every other day.
With razor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dollar Shave Club, right?
Are you?
No. Am I what?
Dollar Shave Club.
I've tried it. I like those guys.
They just got $1 billion.
They got $1 billion shave club now.
Damn. Wow.
Anyway, so with the 360 VR stuff, everybody's racing into this space with the circus in mind.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think is going to make Pixel Whipped really successful is they're coming at it from a completely different angle. If you're going to have that headset on for an extended period of time, riding roller coasters and jet, F-16s and stuff is almost sensory overload. And their background in focusing on audio, I think, gives them a very unique perspective, because that's how you navigate in reality. You hear something on your right, you look over there. You hear something on the left, and it's really a big part of how you discover things in a virtual space. And so I think Pixel Whipped and the kind of storylines and content that they're working on is going to be the kind of thing it's the rabbit hole you want to go down and stay in there for a long time. And not everybody, I think, is approaching the 360 VR space from that perspective.
Yeah, well, gaming is a huge focus in the 360, in the virtual reality space, as of course it would be. It makes perfect sense. And, we're excited about games as well. But as Lane said, maybe being chased by zombies and hearing gunfire for an hour, 2 hours, for me, that would be a lot. I'm naturally kind of just a sensitive, kind of peaceful person.
Sure.
And I wouldn't like to spend a ton of time being inundated with, that sensory overload, like you said, Lane. And so we're excited about the possibilities of the kind of quieter, more peaceful, passive, meditative capabilities of VR. And I think, Lane, you said something cool one time. Maybe it was an original quote.
I did?
Or
good.
One time.
One time.
Just once.
Tell me what it was.
I don't know if it was an original quote or if you got it from somewhere, but I've always liked it. You said when you whisper, people listen.
Yeah, it's true.
I like that.
People lean in.
Oh, I like that.
And I think that goes on the branding side too. That's what buzz is, right? And when something is good enough that people are whispering about it, it must be pretty good.
Yeah.
You don't have to yell about it. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're kind of more interested in the quieter side of VR, if you will.
So is that a certain demographic, you think? Like, obviously, if we're talking about, zombies chasing you, like, it's like, I know this isn't entirely accurate, but, we think of teenage boys as sort of that core gamer.
Sure.
And especially the ones, I mean, I'm a sort of a skeptic of VR. And I think, like...
Have you tried it?
Nah, sort of.
Have you tried it?
No, like, I've tried it, like, cardboard.
Oh, so no.
So not really.
So the answer is no.
But
not really.
But let me take a step back. Like, I'm not a skeptic because I don't think it's gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's gonna. I'm sure that it's awesome.
Are you concerned about the dangers of it? Maybe.
No, I don't care about danger.
Okay. It's my
bring
middle
on the
name.
danger.
What are you, crazy?
I don't know.
Danger? No.
There's usually two kinds of skeptics: people who haven't tried it and think the technology won't be worth anything and it's no good and it won't be immersive, or the people who know it's great and think that could be a problem in society and distance us even further than we already are as a species.
I don't buy that whole distance argument.
All right.
We don't have time for that's like a long tirade that I won't do.
Yeah, it's boring. I don't want to hear it anyway.
No, it is. No, I don't buy all that. Okay. But because I remember having conversations before all this technology and they were shitty.
The conversations were shitty?
Yeah, most of them. Like the guy that you meet in the grocery store, they're like, why would you want, those are not good conversations.
Yeah, what are we missing anyway?
I'd much rather be on my phone than talking to someone while I'm pumping my gas.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what is the nature of your skepticism?
I think so I get it for gaming.
Yeah.
Right? Because I know that there's millions of kids that sit with their headphones on, glued to the screen, yelling at other players in Xbox Live, right? Like, I totally get that, and I think VR makes that experience a whole lot better. Mm-hmm. I get it for porn. I can see why that would be appealing.
Sure.
But, so much of our viewing experience is while we're doing other stuff. Where, we watch TV and we're making food and we're talking and we're on the phone and we're, there's all of this happening. Mm-hmm. Like, TV in part works because it is what they call a lean back experience. It's a passive, you can do other shit while you're watching TV. And that's why so many millions of people watch this stuff, constantly, because it doesn't entirely overtake their lives. Mm-hmm. And I think, VR by contrast is a commitment that you can't do other stuff without maybe the danger. Although people are testing that with Pokemon Go, aren't they?
Yeah, really.
But right, and so that's part of my skepticism.
I see.
Is just that maybe the applications aren't going to be as broad-reaching as the equipment manufacturers, the big content producers and brands are really thinking it is. Mm-hmm. And the other reason is because I think those companies are so, like, they need the next big thing to invest in. And so they'll, just like happened with 3D TV, like, they'll just go way overboard and produce way more stuff than the rest of us are ready for, and try to sort of shove it down our throats.
I think there's going to be waves. I think you're right. There's going to be this investment in hardware now, like push the hardware out and enable it and make it all possible. And a lot of times the hardware comes before anyone's figured out the best format, right? Like from a storytelling perspective. And all of those, there will be a washout. There'll be all these companies that raised way too much money and they built the amazing technology that is so beyond whatever the capabilities or the audience is ready for. And we'll go through a valley, and then it'll come back out with whatever that Pokemon Go experience is. And to me, I feel like it's really just kind of a choice of where everybody's spending time. Immersive media is now a new choice, kind of, whether it's gaming or something else. Yeah. When I'm going to check out, I'm going to go there. Everything else is, television, radio, passive media, still social. But when I'm really going to dive down on something, that's where I think 360 VR will live. And it'll be interesting to see what are those paths that people go to first.
And
Can I jump in this one?
Yeah, sure.
I like this question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, like, I'm not criticizing
We know.
your business model, right? Like
we like discussions like this.
No, but I think, you know, what like from what you just told me about the way you approached the ASMR business, like you seem like you'll get it right. Do you know what I mean? Like you'll make stuff that you care about and the audience will care about.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna. Can I say what I was about to say before you do?
Jump in.
Sure.
I want to hear, but I had a thought and I don't want to
for it.
lose it.
Go for it.
Basically, exactly what you're saying. We would like to think that the content we're working on and that we're making will be so interesting that you won't want to be cooking or doing anything else or multitasking while you're experiencing it. You'll want to completely dive in to what you're watching, and that's what we're trying to create.
Cool.
I think what you're
What is it, Josh?
recognizing. Oh, by the way, I'm Josh. I'm Allie's boyfriend and business partner. I think what you're recognizing is something that is it is a real issue, kind of in VR's current state, because where VR currently is it's kind of like the equivalent of the early days of the internet. It's kind of like the early 90s of the internet. So all these companies are jumping now.
Yeah.
They're not looking. Facebook's not looking to make a return on their investment in the next year or 2 years or even 5 years. They're looking at 20 years down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who are getting involved now, Facebook is hoping that they're going to be like the oracle of virtual reality in 15 years or 20 years.
Yeah.
But they also recognize how much work and how much time it's going to take to get virtual reality to be truly a practical application to where you actually can experience it in a passive way, like you're talking about. There's a long timeline to get it to a point to where it's that practical, but there's a lot of really talented people involved in the industry right now who are incredibly brilliant, who can get it there in a reasonable amount of time. And the conversation we're having right now is probably, I've heard conversations like this about when you heard people talking about Prodigy and America Online when it was first established and stuff like that in the early 90s, and what is the internet? I don't understand like how it can be monetized and how giving away all this free information stuff can actually turn into a practical business. But then now look at it, like, I mean, you were just talking about how people are just walking around all day looking at this phone that has all this information running through it. The plan with VR is that it's going to merge with AR. So like augmented reality and virtual reality are going to be the same technology at some point. They'll look just like these glasses that I'm wearing. And so it is going to, I will be able to have a passive experience. I'll be able to sit here and chop some celery for a salad that I'm making while there's a television show that's being projected on a 20-inch television screen in the middle of my kitchen.
Yeah, you said it's a bit of a physical commitment, but that's just, it is now.
Right.
It's still so early.
And then when I'm ready to, if I want to experience something even more immersive, where, you know, the world that I'm in right now is actually replaced by something completely new, then you can switch it into VR mode. But it sounds like science fiction. It sounds crazy, but it also would have sounded crazy in 1992 if you said that you're going to walk around with a computer in your pocket that's 10 to 50 times faster than any computers that are currently available that you can buy at the store. So that I believe that it's very realistic and that's going to happen, and the people that are getting involved now are the ones who are going to be paving the way for the future and making the decisions that will, like, what will establish the format. What does a movie look like in virtual reality? No one knows right now, because we're at an equivalent stage of where, like, the Lumineer Brothers, the guys who did like that early French film of like just a train arriving in France just to a train station, and the first time that film was shown in the early 1900s, the story goes that the people that were watching it in the theater actually up and like ran away when the train approached the station because they thought it was going to come out of the screen and hit them.
No, it was just a flat screen.
They'd never seen it before.
Are you saying French people are stupid?
We're not saying that. No, of course not.
No comment. No, I'm not saying that. They're obviously brilliant because they revolutionized. They innovated that. But so that's kind of like the parallel that a lot of people use in this industry. That's kind of like the people who are focusing on immersive storytelling right now are setting the groundwork and creating the rules for what does a story look like that isn't in a frame anymore, because for storytelling has been built around the frame,
Right.
and there's no frame anymore. The frame is 360 degrees. It's all around you. You can't hide your crew. You can't hide your lights, sound equipment, all that stuff. What are the new rules for immersive storytelling? And so it's going to take a while to get there. The people who are going to commit themselves, like you said, right now are going to be diehard fans, passionate gamers, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's not. We don't think that it'll be much time until people will be committing themselves, and where the technology will reach a point where you can enjoy it in a passive way.
I think Josh, the other Josh, kind of nailed where a lot of this is going to come from in terms of insights, right? I mean, the gaming world, you can play the narrative, which has a script, but so much more of it is all about you as the participant writing your own script, sort of, in a controlled environment. How did I know to go over there and kick that flower pot over? Well, because we tricked you into looking over there because of the way it was lit, and so maybe a sound cue made you look over there, and so it's a different kind of storytelling, I think, that everybody's gonna play with and probably borrow a lot from the gaming space.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
Yeah, there's some early applications too that do require commitment, that do make sense in their specific context. For instance, we're right now in the early stages of working on something possibly that would get virtual reality devices into the hands of children in hospitals who are bedbound because of terminal illnesses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where they can, it's like a virtual reality version of Make-A-Wish, where these places where they've wanted to visit, where they'll probably never be able to visit because of their affliction, they will be able to go there virtually and have these really unique experiences. Also delivering therapeutic programs to them through virtual reality, where to help ease their anxiety and whatever pain they're experiencing.
That's cool.
Through virtual reality.
Yeah.
So and that's something that they it does require a commitment, and probably a commitment that
They're happy to make.
They're happy to make, and lots of people who are
absolutely.
involved in that would be happy to make as well.
Nice.
So yeah, there are certain applications that make sense.
So I want to talk about your partnership and your partnership, but the two of you, you said you share a brain, and you guys also have a personal relationship, and so how do you make that work, and how does the partnership work?
Well, I just keep him in line.
Nice.
No, just kidding. He just does whatever I say.
It's good enough for me.
Absolutely not.
No, it's interesting. I was just thinking the other night about how I feel like some of the communication aspects of my mind have atrophied a little bit over the past 5 years, because I don't have to complete sentences anymore because she fills in most of them before I get a chance to finish what I'm saying. And so I'm used to now just starting something and knowing that she's going to be able to connect all the dots, so I don't even have to finish what I'm saying. And so I've kind of gotten lazy in that regard.
This morning, before we arrived here, we went and had breakfast, and Josh arrived late. And apparently you sent me a text asking me to place a breakfast order for you. I didn't see this text, but I went ahead and placed his exact breakfast order before he arrived, down to the browning of the sausages. When I say we share a brain, it's not like two brains smushed together, though. Like, we have one brain, and then if we're on our own, we both have half a brain. We're both really dumb.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of the phenomenon you hear about twins, or just like twins who are communicating, and then they'll finish. They'll kind of know where they're going.
Yeah, we've got kind of a Lannister thing going on. It's pretty gross.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what that is?
Yeah.
That's Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Oh. Yeah.
It was a gross joke. Don't put it on the air.
Okay. So was it that way from the beginning, or did you have concerns about I'm going to go in business with my boyfriend? Like, is that a
There's always I mean, it was a unique experience for me. I'd never done anything like that before. And there's always an element of trepidation, I guess, before you do that. You don't want to ruin what you have on either side.
Right.
But we kind of just fell into it. It seemed really, I don't know, serendipitous maybe is the word.
This wasn't our first business venture together either.
We don't know. Don't talk about
business
that.
is just kind of somehow. Well, first of all,
we've just
Ali, when I first met her, I one of the things that I noticed about her was that I saw a ton of potential talent that was untapped, and I was interested that I felt like she was like undervaluing her potential, and she was allowing herself to do jobs and stuff like that that were not at her level, that were challenging her though in a proper way.
I didn't. I was always told by my family that, get a college degree or your life's going to suck. And I didn't do that. I didn't finish college. And so I thought, I can do kind of basic skill level jobs. And so that's what I sought out. And I was 21 when we met. So I was also very young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like I was like, give me your resume and let me like clean it up for you and add some like some stuff to it, some vocabulary and whatnot that I feel like will do a better job of doing you justice.
Well, and your background also it would be relevant. You've always had an entrepreneurial streak. You've started lots of businesses. You were kind of doing that when we met.
Yes. Yeah. That's kind of like my background and watching my parents, start businesses and stuff like that. So did that with her resume. Immediately she started putting her resume out there and she got like a much better job, than the one that she was currently doing at just a internet marketing company. And then
still hated it though.
She still didn't like it though because at the end of the day she was still working for the man. Right. And so right around that time she started making the ASMR content and then stuck with that for a while, saw the potential there, and then once it became like a self-sustainable thing, she jumped ship from that marketing company and stuck with creating internet content. But yeah, we've always had kind of like this business chemistry as well because like at one time we were
oh God.
we had this job called Karma Garage, this company that we created called Karma Garage, where we would go on Craigslist and we would find items that people give away fantastic stuff for free on Craigslist. And it's stuff that definitely they should be charging, like they should be selling it, but for whatever reason they just want to get rid of it really quick and they don't care to make a buck. They just want to like push it. So we would find this undervalued stuff like items on Craigslist, and then we rented out a storage facility,
unit,
and we called it Karma Garage, where we took these unwanted items that had this magic karma behind it, and hoped that people would come into our store, and the true owners, the ones that deserve it, the ones that are part of the karmic circle, will come into contact with these unwanted items that need a home.
And we'd come into contact with their money. It was fine. It was fun. It was actually really fun.
It was actually doing really well.
Yeah, it wasn't a full-time thing. We just did it for a few months.
That's a new ASMR series right there, right? the showroom, the Karma Garage showroom.
Oh my God. Well, the idea, if we another reason for that name is if we had continued it and made it a real business, because we only did it for a few months. It wasn't like a business, but if we had kept going with it, we were going to have a charitable aspect to it and have some.
Yeah, a portion of like all the sales were going to go to we were going to have a list of charities that someone when they were checking out, when they were purchasing the item, they could choose like from a different.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, from charities that they wanted to donate to.
25 or 10% or something would go. Anyway, that didn't pan out.
So what about? I know Al, you said at the beginning you had some hesitation about kind of being the on-camera talent.
I did. Yeah, I don't know why. I really like it.
What has surprised you about that since you've been doing it?
I am still surprised every day to this day, and I've been doing YouTube now for 3.5 years, about something like that, over 3 years. And I am still surprised to this day that people like me and want me to talk more. Because especially because I have to sit and edit my own videos, and I don't know if you edit the podcast, but okay, well, yeah, it's good that you don't edit your podcast, because if you're anything like me, you just I don't know. Yeah. I don't get it sometimes when I sit and watch myself talk and look at my dumb face on the computer. I'm like, why do people watch me? I'm just surprised at how much they like the videos and how much they like me as a person. Really, really nice things that people say about me that I don't know, maybe I don't value myself highly enough or something, but that's been surprising, just how many people care about what I have to say or whatever.
Is there a certain demographic that
I mean,
They use
18 to 35
Right.
is maybe the biggest age group, and it's
But
pretty.
there's not something you can kind of pick out as like those are our people.
I mean, it's not. I don't know. I don't know if it's something that's quantifiable. It's pretty split between male and female viewers. The ages range, the nationalities range. Something that I feel like might be true, or that I feel that I've noticed that again is not a quantifiable thing, is I think that people who are, of maybe slightly higher intelligence than average, who also maybe deal with, slight mental illness. And when I say mental illness, I'm talking about just anxiety and depression and the things that a lot of people in this country suffer from, that kind of fly under the radar, that are not obvious.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily schizophrenic or what we think of as mental illness, but people who just are smart, stressed people.
Yeah, there's a negative connotation with the phrase mental illness,
Right.
because people think of extremities
Sure.
when they think of that. But I mean, it can be so much as, like Ali was saying, just a really, low level generalized anxiety kind of thing.
Which a lot of
Which is
people experience.
Just where your brain just the cranks keep turning at the end of the day. Where, I guess to that, I guess that just opens up. We won't even get into that, go down that rabbit hole, but it just opens up the whole question: like, is everyone mentally ill to a certain degree?
I think everyone is,
Like,
actually.
are the only people who are not mentally ill the ones who are experiencing pure Zen all the time, who've reached enlightenment? But that's a
I like that.
deep philosophical question.
Yeah, I would say it seems that the people who are drawn to me and my content are people who are like me, who are a little anxious. They got a lot going on in their minds. They're smart people. They just need to chill out.
Yeah, you people need to chill.
Yeah.
What about sacrifices? What do you think you've sacrificed in this journey?
Sleep, ironically. Sleep
Interesting.
and occasionally just my own. It's a balancing act. I make videos with other people in mind and their relaxation and their zen and their mental well-being, and sometimes because I want to do it so well, or I want to do it at a certain frequency, I will let things in my life, in my own personal life, suffer or fall by the wayside a little bit. I'll stay up way, way too late editing or shooting a video that I really, really want to have out, or answering emails that I think are really, really important. Josh will do the exact same thing. He's really, really bad about it. But I'm trying to find that balance again, and make sure to just have a strict bedtime, and make sure to get to the gym as often as possible, and eat right, and stay hydrated, and stay away from unhealthy substances and that kind of a thing. That's been the biggest sacrifice, and a little bit of time. Time is a very precious resource, and as much as I love dedicating most of my time to this, sometimes I dedicate too much.
Sure.
And Josh does the same. And I think anyone who loves their job can say that. Anyone's guilty of it. Anybody who has a passion for what they're doing will sometimes let it get too far. But I try not to. I really, when it comes to my family, I have a little boy. I really try as hard as I can not to sacrifice anything when it comes to him, and not to let my work or my stress about my work or my passion for my work get in the way of my role as his mother. But it happens sometimes because I'm not a perfect person. So I wish it didn't.
Lane, tell us about the partnership and what are you guys working on together? And
Yeah,
what's going on?
it's just kind of a collaboration that started 6 months ago, and like I said, I think that when I recognized the talent behind Josh and Ali and the other Pixel Whip creators with Maria and Heather Feather, they're all dedicated to their craft. They're putting all kinds of stuff out, and they're in this really nice place where they can pick and choose the kind of projects that they want to work on, and they're at kind of that transition point where there's so much you can do with existing resources, but then other technology. And if you want to go further, there does need to be someone that helps to pay the bills. And so my background coming from the publishing and the advertising side is, can I help find those right, authentic partners that have interesting stories to tell and weave them into the kind of really engaging content that they're trying to create, and try to do it totally in an authentic way where the audience loves it just as much as the brand loves it, and it's a perfect fit. And so we're kind of custom tailoring some integrations, and we've had a couple early trials. We did some stuff at South by Southwest with American Greetings that was looking to be more relevant in the digital space. And then I really like the challenge of tying two things that, like, there's no way these things can get tied together. But then, look, it did. It worked. So we actually did some work for a chain of laser hair removal clinics. And it's now it's definitely their biggest presence on YouTube. And it's one of the better role-playing videos on Allie's channel. And so we're looking for more of those. And we're looking to not necessarily do one-off videos, but, produce a whole slate. So certain categories we're opening up. Beauty and cosmetics is a category that's perfect for all the Pixel Whip creators. We actually just dropped a Lush video with all kinds of really cool bath bomb, slow motion kind of stuff in water. So we're shopping around a beauty series right now. We're also talking about a cooking show and the sounds of the kitchen, with a bit of an interview angle to it. So that's out and being looked at by a few folks, and we want to keep telling stories quietly that are interesting and cross over from the ASMR base to a broader reaching audience. And that's what we're doing together.
And Lane is also really creative himself, so he doesn't just talk to us about numbers and analytics and stuff like that. He actually brings creative ideas to the table, and so there's an outlet for him to also express his creativity. And so there's a lot of good chemistry when we're brainstorming and stuff about stuff to do. So that's fun that he actually contributes in that way too. It's not just a one-dimensional thing.
Yeah, this is the first time in the 3.5 years that we've been doing this together that we've actually had, truly had a third writing partner. It's just been us two, and
outside of Heather and Maria, when we collaborated with them, they were our writing partners as well. But
we had a third and a fourth partner with them.
But this is the first time in a long time we've had someone who's been working with us regularly,
right?
And contributing that way.
Cool. All right, a couple of lightning round questions.
Oh boy, okay.
Last great book you read?
The Martian.
The Martian.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm currently reading Les Miserables, but I'm not done with it because it's long as hell.
All right.
But it's great.
Yeah.
But the one I finished was The Martian.
Favorite band or DJ?
Oh my God. Ask Lane. I'll get back to you. I have so many.
What do you got, Lane?
I'm not the music guy.
Who's my favorite band?
All right, Lane. If you're on a desert island the rest of your life and you can bring 3 records with you, since we're of the same age, we'll say LPs.
Oh man.
Then what would they be?
Not the music guy. Josh is the music guy.
I'd bring Blonde on Blonde.
Okay.
It's Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Aladdin Sane. And
Bowie.
Yes, Bowie and Spice Girls.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Spice Girls. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Lane,
any Spice
same
Girls.
3 records?
No, I'd probably I'd probably bring Rattle and Hum. I would probably bring Queen's Greatest Hits.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm looking for range, right? Because you got to listen to these things forever.
How about a soundtrack or something?
Oh, that's interesting.
Movie soundtrack.
What, Star Wars?
There you go. I'll keep you busy.
Sure.
Okay.
There you go.
Star Wars soundtrack. That never gets old.
No. And I think my favorite artist, coming back to that one, is David Bowie.
Okay.
If I had to pick one, which you just can't, but for these purposes, I'll pick
You
David
can on
Bowie.
this show.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Who would you be most excited about learning that they were a fan of yours?
Julie Andrews. Or
Nice.
President Obama. But mostly Julie Andrews.
Okay.
I love her.
That's great. Cool. Well, thanks for doing this. It's been great having you. Appreciate
Thank you.
all the wisdom.
Thanks for having me.
It was excellent. Thank you so much.
All right, cool. I hope you enjoyed that. Definitely some weirdo stuff going on, but that was a lot of fun to hear what they're up to. Come back next week. I got some more craziness. My new friend Amanda, the founder of Arsenic TV. If you haven't checked out Arsenic TV, definitely do that, and then come back next week to hear the interview. In the meantime, hit us up on Twitter at Rebel Radio Net. Find us on Facebook. Leave us a 5-star review, of course, on iTunes. And don't forget to support our sponsors, Wix.com and Boxed.com. Peace.